We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take. On Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Claude Ray, Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's retro.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we're broadcasting all over the United States. Well, no, all over the world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We got a great show today. Jimmy, we got special guests, very special guests coming in today. But I like to stop and say, I know you might be headed out to the George Floyd's Memorial. Make sure you dress properly. It's hot out there. Make sure you take water. They have paramedics out there in case you fall out. I was watching the news before I came on the show. We had one gentleman that had to be, taken care of by the paramedics. But, just so much stuff going on in sports. We got guests. And a shout out to Brianna Ross, Jimmy. We haven't talked about, Brianna Ross is our intern that works behind the scenes, that helps us behind the scenes. Y'all don't see her, but we have not given her a shout out yet. So I wanted to give her a shout out today, just today. So Jimmy, we got a hope. I don't know where to start, but I last week we were on the show and I said I was talking about a moment versus a movement. I was talking about the difference in a moment and a movement is sacrifice. I said, ladies and gentlemen, let's not make this be a moment. And I'll never forget Don Showalter, who was a guest on the show, said he wanted to write that down. Jimmy, I wanted to explain to people, because some people just don't, some people you just got to talk to them about it a little bit. What is going on right now to me, y'all, is a movement. It's a movement and not a moment. Moments are where, let me give you the difference. Moments are where you demonstrate, get in your car, whatever, spend a few days folding up signs, and then you fold up the signs, you get in the car, you go home, and whatever, back to whatever you're doing. That's a moment. And we are having moments, don't get it twisted. But what's happening now overall is a movement. And somebody say, hey, Mr. Hatter, Mr. Hatter. I said, yes. He said, what's the difference between a moment and a movement? And I told him sacrifice. Every movement in history, ladies and gentlemen, of mankind has required a sacrifice. Those of you that are religious, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, or whatever your religion, the people who started it sacrificed. And in most cases, they sacrificed their life. Jesus sacrificed his life. And that's the bedrock of Christianity. There were moments, he had moments where he turned water into wine. He had moments where Lazarus came forth. But let me tell you something. There were moments, but when those moments became a sacrifice. Emmett Till sacrificed his life. That's the essence of the civil rights movement. Sacrifice. So what I'm seeing all over the globe, Jimmy, is people saying, I know it's a pandemic. I know I might get sick, but it's worth the sacrifice. Why? Because Black Lives Matter. I had to share that with y'all today. That was heavy on my heart today. and because we get bogged down in everything else. But let's not forget that. Okay, Jimmy, what you got today, baby?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. We're coming up on. We have two powerful guests who's going to join us today, and we're going to continue the conversation on the Chop Shop. The conversation is to help. I call it some midday. Normally we a midday sports happy hour, but right now we're gonna change. We a midday sports therapy. We provide now. We're not the therapists. We're not licensed. Everybody, we're engaging in some mental therapy to get whatever we can to help us understand how to push forward and hopefully to help with the hatching of the eggs, meaning your mental eggs, for some people to wake up and understand and be able to want to do something about making their space better. We have invited a police officer to join us. And that was by popular demand. Actually, we're going to have two officers throughout the week. We have one today and one from the Houston Police Department. And that will be another on Wednesday, Women Rock Wednesday, a female from the Harris County Sheriff's Department. And the female actually played basketball in college, was a star hooper, and we wanted to get people that would feel comfortable engaging in the conversation while supplying us with, just offering some possible solutions here and there, because this stuff is not easy. And this is not, as you can tell, this ain't the normal type of march or protest that's 1 or 2 days. This is what they were preparing for the candle to fizzle out after a couple of days. And it seemed like in some cities, it got grander. Relationships, I'm looking in case of updating for us breaking news. You remember over the weekend, many of you guys may have saw the viral video of the person that sped through the plaza of a march in Richmond, Virginia, and shot one of the protesters who were attempting to help to hinder impede his progress in the vehicle. Well, we've come to know that that person who was arrested, calmly, peacefully arrested after doing that, his name is Harry Rogers. Harry Rogers. Guess who he is, y'all? He's the head of the Ku Klux Klan in Virginia. So he didn't normally, I'm shocked on this one, because normally the boss would have sergeant at arms or different, the queen or the king would have pawns to go and carry out those type of missions. He went and carried this one out himself. So he's been arrested and charged with attempted malicious wounding, felony vandalism, which is assault and battery, and he's been held without bond. And want to give you guys that piece of news on that, because that was really that could have been really ugly, and it was ugly. Could have been uglier. Black fella that took the bullet. They showed video of him walking. They were with the rescue team through the streets, and he gave a. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome. But once again, I want to give a shout out yesterday also to Yates High School assistant coach Eddie Barlow.
Yes.
Eddie Barlow. Guess what he did, guys? He's an assistant coach. He played for Yates back in the 90s. He was a star player. I mean, very good. Barlow, and he played in the Pro-Am League for a couple of years. He went and helped galvanize a voter registration drive on yesterday in the CUNY homes where Big Floyd was raised. In those CUNY homes, those are in Third Ward. If you're not from Houston, the geographics, those CUNY homes are projects that are 1 block from Yates and directly across the street from Texas Southern University. They had a voter registration drive. And I went and it motivated me, because we've had those before at some of our events, but I thought I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna go, and I didn't realize I'm eligible to go and become a deputy registrar. That means you have to sign the documents and be anointed. Anybody can't just go and sign up people, because you can create fraud. You have to take the oath and this and that. And I'm gonna go and push through and become a deputy registrar. That means you have the capacity to sign up people to vote on site wherever you are. And it takes is a 1 hour class to go through. And how are we looking on time? How are we on our new schedule today?
We got 3 minutes till the commercial. We got 3 minutes till the commercial break. So we got 3 minutes. But shout out to Eddie Barlow too. And I want to let me tell you something. This guy just took it on his own, and that's why I put I don't know if you saw it. I put it up on the screen, Jimmy. I don't know if you was watching. I had some pictures from the event, and Jimmy, I think it was a great. I mean, he just see. You know, when people get on here talking about, what can I do? What can I do? He just went and did something. What are you going to do? And that's all we do. You don't have to do nothing grand. Like Jimmy just said, man, I'm going to try to be a registrar. It's a lot of things. You can send your money. And I talked to some business leaders over the weekend. Spend in your community. Spend in your community now. I know you said, what they got to do with it? Just spend, and I'm going to give you, in the coming weeks, I'm going to tell you how important that is. It's very, very, very important. And Jimmy, I just want to shout out to Greg Wise. Greg Wise saw a young guy and allowed him to be an assistant coach on his staff and brought this guy in, got Teacher of the Month. Jimmy. I mean, and so I'll reach out, Jimmy. I don't have his number, but I want everybody, whoever have him, just tell him that Chop Shop appreciate Eddie Barlow and the things he did. Jimmy, did you want to touch right quick? We got 1 minute and 38 seconds. They talked about it was talking about Cade Cunningham. Are we going to go there now?
We can just touch it in that way, because my problem, and that is over the weekend, right after we had Coach Boynton, from Oklahoma State on last week. The next day, or was it 2 days later, whatever, we had him on Wednesday, whatnot, on Friday, the NCAA laid the hammer down, put him on probation, took scholarships, and also a postseason ban this year. Not to mention that Lamont Smith was given a 10-year show cause. Man, you guys, understand something. Not a single player that's on this team right now played for Oklahoma State when these allegations were said to have been committed. Mm-hmm. Not a single coach was on the staff when these were said to have been committed. Understand this. And you just laid the hammer, the NCAA, on Oklahoma State after. Oh, man, you people that are paying attention, Howard, 2 weeks after you allowed SFA to skip a year before serving their punishment.
And Jimmy, I know you. I'm looking at the time, and I know you don't have it, but we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that with our other guests. We go in a few minutes. But Eddie Barlow was Teacher of the Year, first year Teacher of the Year. I'm sorry, not Teacher of the Month. But Jimmy, I'm going to play this commercial right now, and I want you – I'm going to put this commercial up on the screen, and I want you to give us the – I got the GMI flyer on the screen. Give us –
okay, guys,
talk to us about
right now. Mm-hmm. July the 9th through the 12th, the George McClellan Invitational will take place in Houston. MI3, the gym are two of the locations. And, of course, you can sign your team up right now for the GMI by simply going to gmfcares.com. That's gmfcares.com. Remember, the divisions, we don't have age groups at the GMI. It's hot, spicy, mild, regular, baked, grill, make you hungry on it. Guess what? And that's the GMI, the George McClellan Invitational. And understand something about it. 100% of the net profits from the George McClellan Invitation go directly to the back to school drive and or the annual scholarships that's given out to at least 2 student athletes. That's the George McClellan invitation.
That it? Okay, well, I got another one because we got a minute. I got another commercial we'll play. Jimmy, I saw some things yesterday. Oh, let's go here.
Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore? If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate. He's violent.
Jim Hicks.
Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore?
In this inaugural year back in 2019, and it was a grand camp, one of the best camps given in Houston. You guys, that's the Southwest Exposure Camp. For more information, go to rcssports.com, rcssports.com for more information. Now, we're back on the Chop Shop, and of course, and without further ado, as we guys promise you to continue the conversation, we are bringing one of the Houston's finest in regarding to one of the more popular police officers around the city, not just the area, around the city. Understand something, guys. He's over one of the community outreach programs when the officers meet with the neighborhood and the community civic club. He's one of the administrators with that. He works security. He's part of the private detail for the Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. So that means road games. Guess what? He gets to travel road games and go for free, get his feet on the grass. Also, listen, Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah. Whenever Shaquille O'Neal is in town, whenever he's not in town, guess who his private detail is? This officer right here, and that is, without further ado, Officer Ken Miles.
Hello, everyone.
Of the Houston Police Department.
Hold on, let me get. I gotta give him some applause. Go, Jim.
Hey, are you rolling is your cam running right now? I want to know. They say your cam.
No, that's just the bracket.
Okay. Now.
Y'all funny, man.
This is the Chop Shop. That's how we got.
No, got you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we welcome you. Thanks so much for coming and joining us today. I want to get right into it and ask you, what's the atmosphere in the HPD? First of all, tell us where you work at and how long you've been there, and a lot of people don't know.
Well, I've been on the Houston Police Department for a little over 25 years. And the majority of that time, like roughly 24 years, been spent at the Northeast Division, 8301 Lay Road. It's like right in the heart of City Gas. And you asked about what's the mood. I can only speak for the mood around our station. Whenever we were told to go to 12-hour shifts, we know there's tough times ahead, but we have to get through it. We know that what happened was a terrible thing, a bad thing, but we're focusing on, number one, keeping the public safe. Number two, being sympathetic. Number three, making sure that our families are safe. And then probably lastly, just making sure that we have adequate rest so we can do this over and over again, because we're right back at it after another 12 hours. So. Overall, I think the awareness is greater. Had I heard you say earlier that you can tell the difference between a moment and a movement, it is definitely a movement. Mm-hmm. And I think it's felt all over the world.
Yeah. Jim?
So now with George Floyd, we have a public memorial in Houston today, and mm-hmm. the private funeral will be on tomorrow for limited to 500 guests. And now the relationships, last week we've had a couple of marches and protests in the Houston area. for the most, very successful based on the amount of people. When you look at percentages. Now, with you guys and your staff, your coworkers, like anybody, there are some coworkers that you already don't even have to question the depth of probably their roots in this stuff. Are white police officers willing to listen to you guys now, or is it still the same?
Honestly, I think that it's still fresh, and I'll just say this: in any profession, it's hard to know who has hidden agendas or like hidden bias or like hidden prejudice. It's hard, and normally it's exposed when there's a heated argument, when someone makes you mad, and so on. I hope and I pray that this awareness gives people the chance to want to learn and do something different. However, in my 25 years at working for the city, I've seen people fired for criminal acts, non-criminal acts, saying the wrong thing, getting caught on camera, saying the wrong thing. It's all a process, but I think what this movement is going to do, it's going to streamline the process, knock out some kinks, bring awareness to certain things, because you don't even have to be an officer just to pick up on vibes, to know that someone may be racist, biased, or just not have been exposed to that element that they're working in. Like, I grew up in Acres Homes, and I'm from Louisiana, so I mean, I can walk in the heart of Fifth Ward at the most troubling times and not feel anything. Some people can't do that.
I got something for you, Doc. There are 3 cases out here, right? And I just want three cases out here now that I think are in the forefront of people's minds. I took some notes. The lynching of George Floyd in Hennepin County. Then the Louisville murder of Breonna Taylor. The police there were issuing a no-knock warrant, and then a boyfriend pulled his gun that he is licensed to carry, thinking they were being robbed, and police fires and kills Breonna. Okay, then we got 6 Atlanta police officers who were charged with allegedly using excessive force and protests against 2 young girls. 6 officers have been charged and 2 have been fired. I just want to know, what's your thoughts about what you're seeing and how things are playing out right now? Just what's your thought? You being,
no, right on.
You follow me? What's your thoughts?
No, right on. And I'll admit, I heard about Breonna's case, but I'll tell you all the truth. Okay. When I saw George Floyd's video, and like hearing him call out for his mother, that, I mean, just seeing it and just looking at the whole totality of it, it does something different to you. And I heard about Breonna's deal, but I really didn't know a lot of the facts. And I guess because George is from 3rd Ward, Texas, and then he had Stacks in his corner that was echoing it, and everything kind of took off. Everybody got a chance to see it. My thoughts are that nowhere around George's deal is it right. I mean, and I don't know anybody right now that I associate with or work with that'll say that it's right. There may be some people that have hidden agendas. I don't know. None of us know. But Breonna's deal, it's alarming. If in fact the facts that are coming out are true facts. Right. I have no doubt that they can get that justified. It's just terrible when you have to wait this long. The whole thing of it is the wheels of justice. It just seems to slow down for like different people. And like, if it can go away, then it can go away. With the 6 Atlanta police thing, I heard about that, but I didn't see the video. I just know that George Floyd thing is going to bring a light to a lot of things that have happened that I don't know if they can fix now, but I know going forward, they're going to have to do some things different. Definitely.
Jimmy?
As an officer, have you ever been in a situation where one of your coworkers were probably using what would classify as excessive force, and that other officer happened to be white? If so, what did you do or what did you not do?
In my 25 years, that has never happened. I feel comfortable saying the men and women that I work with, and actually we talked about it last week. That would have been a different result, because morally, not only as an officer, but morally as a person that wears a uniform, you're obligated, number one, to preserve life. You're obligated not to allow your coworkers to get you in trouble and to make you lose your livelihood and or your freedom, and or to not let them inflict unnecessary pain or suffering or death on a citizen when it's no cause for it. I can honestly tell y'all, in the northeast sector of Houston, I don't foresee that happening, especially if I'm standing around. I mean, no. You rest assured. That doesn't go down like that.
We got a couple of messages from the Facebook feed. They said, why aren't officers taught to shoot in the leg more often if it comes to that? Why are guys still being caught putting chokeholds, knee on the necks after all of this? Seems like they're doing it to show that they do what they feel like doing.
Well, let me address the knee on the neck deal. I know for Houston, in the academy and or in annual classes, I've never seen any of our trainers put knees on necks. Okay. We're taught to utilize shoulder blades. Okay, shoulder blades. If a person is handcuffed already, there's no need to go to the neck. Use your shoulder blade. It's for the officers there. I mean, that's all I can say about that. I mean, I immediately, when I saw the knee on the neck, I knew that was bad. As far as shooting in the arm or the leg, and I'll be honest with y'all, and I think y'all been knowing me long enough, watch that shoot. It's hard for some people to even hit a square target. Less known focus on shooting in the arm or leg. We are taught to handle the threat. And I've been in cases where someone's high on PCP, high on drugs, are just brutally strong.
Right.
Gunshots don't always stop them. Tasers surely don't work. You know, I had a guy pull the tasers out on me and like started flossing his teeth with them. That's how high it was. So the policy is not to aim for an arm or leg, because if we miss and hit a little kid or somebody not affiliated with the threat, it opens up a whole new cans of worms. So to answer that, it's just not taught, and it's really not realistic in a real live adrenaline threat. It's just, trust me, I have a problem hitting an arm or leg if I was really freaking out about it.
Oh, you ain't shooting like Barney Fife over there.
Hey, Barney ain't got but one bullet. Barney ain't got but one bullet. Jimmy, come up in the screen, Jimmy. Jimmy, come up. There you go.
And of course, how close are we to the break, Hatter?
You got a minute and a half left. What you got?
Well, we got a couple more questions. One question is coming from out of California, and he asked, is it illegal to use, well, first, is it illegal to video police officers brutalizing citizens?
No. I mean, anything in a public view, you don't have exclusive rights to as a citizen. I mean, anybody can view you. You can video put police. I mean, we are public servants.
So what can a citizen do when that officer comes to try to snatch their cell phone when they're viewing them in uniform, performing their duties?
Obviously, I would like to tell them, and like that's a difficult question because you don't want to get into like a tit-tat fight with a uniform officer to where other people think that you're attacking them and then you end up getting shot.
Yes.
What happens if they
Just,
run?
huh?
What happens if they run?
What?
You still might
The
get shot.
citizen?
It's
Hey, well, no, I don't think that. It's just I would like to think that the police departments are educating their officers better.
Gotcha.
Most of the departments no, because we wear cameras too.
Gotcha.
You're not going to have that problem in Houston, seriously. And don't run, God no.
Thank you.
Now, if you're in a small town, seriously, I really think that the movement is going to streamline some things. But I know.
Could
Now
you
we
hold
up
that?
against the break.
Ken,
Hold
we
it
up
down
against the
right
break.
there.
I want
And-
you to hold that one. I want you to hold that one.
Okay.
We'll be back in a minute with Jimmy. Write that question, write that response down. And we're going to come back in 2 minutes. Here we go.
To WW above all. .com and get registered.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. Yours truly, Robert Haddock. Still got Jim Hicks is in the building. And, man, we got Officer Kenneth Miles in the building dropping nuggets. Man, when we went off the air, you were about to talk about something. I'm going to just let you go right into it.
I was going to mention the fact that I saw on Twitter, I think, where Minneapolis or Minnesota is thinking about defunding their police officers. And my personal opinion is I think that would be a horrible mistake. And I get it that it may not be speaking on wiping out the entire use of law enforcement, but you really have to understand. And I'll say this in regards to George Floyd's movement, anybody movement. Guys, crime doesn't stop because the world is in mourning. Crime doesn't stop even when there's a major flood that has everything closed and on. Crime is all about opportunity. And Jimmy, and I gave this some thought. At one of your major events, Icebreaker, GMI, imagine just not having officers there.
True.
I mean, in a perfect world, we would like parents to come in and act accordingly, not abuse the arrest verbally and or everybody paid like they're supposed to. Or while you away trying to earn money, someone is going through your personal space at home. Or you have to worry about your wife and kids getting robbed or hurt. I just think that that's a horrible idea. Now, streamline it, yes. Implement new policies, yes. But it starts with leaders. It really does. I can honestly say that with our chief, some people agree with him, some people don't. But I have personally witnessed where he has made right with a lot of wrong. Okay.
And I just like to add some. I saw where it don't mean getting rid of, because somebody on show asked, how do you define it? And they say it just it means shifting resources away from just policing. So then they talked about the budget.
Right.
Then they compared the budgets of the United States. the military budget and all of those budgets are way more higher than the budgets that
Right.
actually take care of the people. So I think
Right.
that's what and people just said defund, defund, and people run with it. They even ran the mayor. They ran the mayor out the march, the mayor of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because people just
Yeah, it's scary.
they're not educated and not knowing what's going on. Defund don't mean get rid of the police. You got to have police. And
Right.
and so it's just people just there's some these some topics that quite frankly I've never brought up. I never thought
Right.
about.
You know what the key is though?
Uh-huh.
I've been in the Northeast area 24 years, and in my personal opinion, again,
Okay.
we have to stop as a people, stop involving the police as the first line of defense for family issues, for things involving our kids, for things that don't apply to criminal issues. There are so many things that we are called for that are on a civil basis. I mean, child custody, little disturbs now, family violence, assaults, burglaries, things of that nature, we're on board.
Gotcha.
But, I know HPD has things in place that rather than call the police to your home, you can go online and file online reports. But there's people that call us because they're 10-year-old kid that say that they don't care what they say, they're not going to school. There's other things to where police have been put in front of uncles. When I grew up, my uncles used to be the officer without a badge. And I think we've gotten away from that to where, and I speak with ministers often, and I try to tell them spread the word to their congregation.
Yes.
Let's stop involving police in things as a threat. I'm gonna call the laws on you if you don't act right. Telling the 2-year-old kids,
Yeah.
you don't do that. Stop
Gotcha.
that.
Do you think, although I don't think that crime may be decreased, but do you think that the amount of of the abundance of police brutality would decrease if officers were able to police their own communities?
I think the more officers that you have in a community that they can relate to, I think that helps tremendously. But let's be clear, it's not just white officers that are getting in trouble for using racial
Thank you.
slurs and abusing people. It's all races. I've seen it.
Thank you.
It just so happens the latest one in the frying pan happens to be on live and in color camera. I think it comes from leadership, not only from the chief, because the chief of police put people at stations, commanders, to ensure that they have a hands-on approach. And at my station, trust me, they're not playing any games. I can't go into too much details, but
Right.
they are very aware of the employees that they have working there.
Now we have a question from a female. Of course, females go to the top of the line.
Oh, yes.
And one lady asked, "Why is it?" This is a funny one right here. I'm not funny meaning the question because I know I've been on the opposite side of it before. Why are there always 3 to 5 carloads of laws or officers to when they stop one car? Can you explain what?
When they stop one car on traffic?
Yeah, when you see sometimes some people may see abundance of cars, and I do understand, and in some cases there's a reason for that. Can you care to go into that?
It all depends on different situations. Examples are there could be a hit on that license plate from an incident that happened to where somebody drove off and that plate was given and listed as suspicion. It may be a stolen vehicle to where the person who owned the vehicle has since recovered the vehicle, but failed to call the officers back and tell them that they have it. It could be a description of the same car that was just given out at a homicide that happened down the street. Or most of the time, it's probably because other officers are bored and they just stopping to see what's going on. Just like if you call me, Jimmy, to the house, I might have 2 or 3 units checked by because there's nothing else going on. In a way, that's a good thing because they could be out pulling other people over. I mean, it's a hit and miss thing. So don't look at it as, oh, it must be all hell breaking loose because there's 3 officers to that one. No. I mean, it's all different kind of scenarios. It does look a little crazy though.
I'm glad you said that. I went home to Memphis and got me a rental car, and I got a new one. They gave me a new one. You know, I never look, and I never look at the license plate, Ken. I don't pay attention to them, whether they new. When I get off that plane, I want my car, and I'm gone. So I'm riding through downtown, you know, just riding. Boy, them lights hit. Boy, my heart, Ken, let me tell you something. I'm saying, I just got here, man. What the hell is going on? And for some reason, at the rental car place, that license that they put on the back was a temporary. It was for another car, rental car.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Those things happen.
But I got stopped and got my life. Think about it. If I wasn't clean and I was had a warrant or something, I was gone because of somebody else's negligence. Dude. I was nervous than a hooker in church that day. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I was nervous.
Right on.
Huh? Nope.
Those are just some of the small things that happen that get officers to stop you. Not only that, your own neighbors and neighborhood people, they call the police. The police just don't show up at people's house. We are called there. And 9 out of 10 times, people don't call us, be like, oh, well, I didn't want anything. There's nothing wrong. I just wanted to tell you that I love you. No, it's always at their worst moment. Okay. But just because you're getting stopped on a traffic stop, ladies and gentlemen, please don't freak out, especially if you know in your heart that you didn't do anything wrong. And I tell people, if you know that you didn't do anything wrong, treat it like you at Papados or Papa's and your waiter or waitress mess up. You're going to do everything possible to get to that supervisor. You either going to get a free meal or you're going to get that man or woman fired. We operate the same way. Just stay calm, please. And how do they probably stop you because you horrible at golf. So
Hey, Jimmy, I ain't tell you about that one, Jimmy. I was ready to get back on that plane, but then the guy asked, wait a minute. Then after I got to talking to the guys, then they said, oh, okay. Hey, see, he said, man, check your plates before you go leave her. So I just learned a valuable lesson. I never check my plates.
I would not drive a car that doesn't have that state plates on. No, never.
Okay. You just helped me out.
We have another question. One of the former basketball players, speaking of Yates High School, they've been in the news indirectly a whole lot. And lately from former players, and of course, George Floyd is one of the latest. But a couple of years back in December of 2015, Melvin Swift Jr., his dad was a star at Houston Austin High School back in the 80s. He was killed on the Houston South side.
Yeah, I remember.
And to this date, no charges have been brought against the killer. Remember, he was killed inside the home. And the viewer Herb says, I've been fighting for justice on his behalf for almost 5 years. Why can't his family ever get any answers? Ask Officer Miles if he could please help me with this particular case. How does that work, being you are stationed in the Northeast substation versus something that happened on Southeast?
Who is that? Herb Baker asking that, right? Because that's his guy. Normally when there's a homicide or anything like that, everything documented is confidential. I can call down there. I can go down there after all of the pandemic and all that stuff is over. I don't know how much information I can get. What I do know is that if it's anything that they can do to land somebody in jail, I feel confident saying that they would do it. I would ask around for you, Herb. I mean, I've been knowing Herb ever since my son and his son were like babies. I don't mind doing that. I don't know that I can get that ultimate result, but I know a lot of people down there. And I know since Chief Acevedo has came on, there's been been some shakeups from the old regime to the new regime. So even if I can't do it, I'll put Herb in touch with somebody that can talk to him.
And of course, Barry, want to correct you. Yes, that was Melvin Swift Jr., not Melvin Swift Sr. So
Right.
So I want to make
But
sure
that was
it gets out there.
Herb Baker's guy.
Yeah.
Because I remember her posting about it. Yeah.
And we have how many minutes we got for the break, Hal?
A
We
minute
on this
and
new
26 seconds.
schedule. 1 minute and 20.
Yeah.
Now, and of course, now last week, Arts, the police chief, he was on video not once but a couple of times. I mean, enhancing his street cred, his swag.
Passion.
And one time he just said, "Don't follow that BS." I mean, now is that him every day, or is that something? Was he trying to please to his audience?
No, he's very sympathetic to have people understand that, number one, he's doing the best job that he can. And I can tell as an officer that he is, when most of the old regime, they really don't like it because they tend to move on. And you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, Houston been going through a huge influx of retirements.
Okay.
That's why we're understaffed now. You know, we sitting at maybe 52, 5,300, maybe 54, but we should at least have at least 6,000 for city side. But to answer your question, Jim, that is him all day, every day. He gonna hug you, talk loud to you, whether you are assistant chief or officer or a sergeant. All officers just not that outgoing, but he was truly passionate. And when I saw that, I got fired up. I mean, seriously.
That
is him, though.
We're gonna take a quick break right now, Jimmy. And Officer Miles, I want you to check this out. Something I picked up from the archives.
Okay.
The police are able to use the press to make the white public think that 90% or 99% of the Negroes in the Negro community are criminals. And once the white public is convinced that most of the Negro community is a criminal element, then this automatically paves the way for the police to move into the Negro community, exercising Gestapo tactics, stopping any black man who is on the sidewalk, whether he is guilty or whether he is innocent, whether he is well dressed or whether he is poorly dressed, whether he is educated or whether he is dumb, whether he's a Christian or whether he's a Muslim. As long as he is black and a member of the Negro community, the white public thinks that the white policeman is justified in going in there and trampling on that man's civil rights and on that man's human rights. Once the police have convinced the white public that the so-called Negro community is a criminal element, they can go in and question, brutalize, murder unarmed, innocent Negroes, and the white public is gullible enough to back them up.
I saw that last night, and it touched me because a lot of people, you got to realize, Officer Miles, I just found some about my city. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. And I just happened to be browsing through YouTube, just checking our YouTube site. And I saw some said church in Memphis. So when you say church in Memphis, I'm going to, church in Memphis. It's about Robert Church, the first black millionaire who saved Memphis from being uncorporated or unchartered. They were sanctioned to be, unincorporated by the government. And this guy saved them. And I done been my whole life and did not know that. So a lot of stuff about Malcolm X and James Baldwin that I did not know, and I'm educating myself right now, but I thought that was in this time, this 50 to 60 years ago. And we're talking about the same things right now. Think about it. That's 50, that's black and white. That movie, that was in black and white. They probably on 16 millimeter.
Right,
And we still
right,
having these same
right.
problems in that. Now, what do you think about that? And I know you are an officer, but you're a man. You're a man first. And what did you think about when you saw that video?
I mean, it is very, very relevant to this day. And like a lot of the words mentioned are relevant. I really, really want to understand that if we had more leaders within our communities, and I'm talking about leaders that were real leaders and didn't have a hidden agenda for power, fame, monetary gain, and so on, so on. I could see everything coming together to where the police is not needed in the neighborhoods per se for those type things. Like if you had neighbors that didn't care whether or not they disturbed the peace, or if they raised their children to where they were not disrespectful, and so on. So all of these things are the end results. I grew up raised by nothing but women. Okay. And what I mean is, growing up in Louisiana, my grandfather was a pastor of a church. My grandmother was the backbone. My mom, she was living her best life. All my aunts living their best life. I had a couple of uncles that I was in fear, but we never called the police. It was yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. If we teach our kids now to be respectful to their neighbors, it'll bleed over to the schools, to be respectful to their parents, to be respectful to their coaches, to be respectful to the pastor. The police is the last worry, okay? Because you already have a clear understanding. I have to be respectful through all things. It doesn't matter. Adults used to get on me all the time for like being bad, and I never cursed back at them. Now, a lot of the citizens are calling the police because they don't want to even make an effort to intervene with right and the wrong that's on the street. We've gotten away from having our family members know that we're having problems with our kids because, number one, we're too embarrassed because we want to paint this image that we're living our best life when our kids are giving us purity hell. So we're calling the police. And by the time a kid is 16, 17, they're not afraid of the police. Okay, I stand on the police are really called now for first line interferences, where when I grew up, we never called the police. And I think that that's a bad thing. So hopefully we can put some barriers in place where there'll be more leaders, and the city streamlines it to where a lot of the cases that were called, they can go to the office and make criminal complaints and so on.
Gotcha.
I know that's a long answer, but I'm
No,
passionate about it.
I like that. I just now we got a question from the from the YouTube page. And by the way, your son said, "That's my dad." Your son been shouting you out, Officer Miles. He been shouting you out, and ain't nobody said nothing about it. He been shouting out his dad. But
I ain't giving him.
he said, "Can you ask him why does he believe there is so much hostility when officers are confronting and arresting black male and female? I've seen them really manhandle some females lately. And officer, I'm just gonna tell you, that been my mama and my sister. We've been having another one of these situations. Cause you cannot just let nobody handle your mama and sister like that.
No.
What's going on with that, man?"
I would feel the same way. And without sounding biased, I've been a part of where there is zero reasoning in trying to get somebody in the backseat of a car that they know that they're going to jail. Sometimes people do not feel like going to jail. All right. Sometimes, once again, we are not called at good moments. We're called at the most worst moments of people's life, whether it's a burglary, whether somebody got hit by their spouse, somebody that got shot, cut. And here we are trying to tell somebody, hey, why I have to take you in? And y'all know people are more liberated and vocal nowadays, which is good. But it also backfires when they won't listen to their mom, their dad, their cousin, their brother. But then a police who's supposed to be a lawful authority voice come and try to take you. And a lot of times it's captured on camera and it's painted a picture of, oh, he didn't have to slam. Now, I'm an advocate about officers that are slamming females and just mishandling. No.
Right.
You have to slow down as an officer and not get caught up in the moment of feeling disrespected. Everything has to slow down nowadays. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour. And I think what happens is they lose sight of who the person is, and they try to get them in custody by any means necessary, because it is a safety issue. Okay. I mean, there have been cases where both sides end up dying, and it is viewed as, oh, well, he or she should have did this or they shouldn't have did that. That's a tough question, but I can personally say I'm never in a rush to where if I'm the only person there, I'm finna tussle with a man or a woman. I'm gonna wait until adequate backup come, and then we're gonna do whatever we have to do.
And somebody asked, are you a member of the National Black Police Association?
Yeah. What, national? No, but like Houston area, yes.
And how deep are you guys?
Deep as far as what? Involvement?
Membership.
I don't know the exact numbers, but the guy that's the president works at our station, Jimmy. And the former president was from our station area. He just started working in like public affairs, I think. But they have huge influence there. They have a lot of influence. Now, national, I don't know.
Okay. Now you one of the things that you do also is that you are part of one of the committees at your substation that
Yes.
dialogue with the civic clubs.
Yes.
And I actually went to one. I told Hal about a year or so ago, and hell, I was the youngest person in the room that wasn't an officer.
Right.
So where are the young people at these civic clubs?
You know what? And I'm glad you asked that, because we need that. A lot of the seniors who have been in the Cashmere Garden, Fifth Ward, Trinity Gardens, Rosewood areas, they're older now. So they use that moment to come to the meeting, vent their frustrations, get to know the officers in the area. Therefore, if they have a problem, they know exactly who to contact. Fifth Ward is going through a movement. They have a younger adult there that's starting to get her hands out there, Erica Hubbard. And I mean, she's on the 3-1 app. She's in my email. She's calling the station. But you have to do that to make sure that you're getting your fair share of what city services are. It's not just police. It could be trash pickup. All right. But we need young people to like go to these meetings. All right. Not just when it's something wrong, build a relationship there. Our positive interaction program meeting every second Thursday of the month at 6 o'clock at the station. It's on hold right now because of COVID, but whatever area you live in, find a meeting, a civic meeting, be a voice, because voice matters. Now we seeing the whole world's voice. And like, look at what it's doing. Everybody's eyes are open. But it's a tremendous experience. I've been doing it for like 13 years.
Well, now speaking, Hal mentioned earlier, your son was on the Facebook feed. A lot of people may not know your son was one of these star basketball players this season and just graduated. He'll be going out to college.
Yeah.
Tell us quick, as being an officer, and you in the stands a lot. A lot of people probably did not know you were a police officer.
They really did.
And going off in the stands.
I ain't never heard him go off.
Say,
people around him.
Okay. Lord have mercy. Right now, yeah, my son Dylan Miles, he's going to University of Texas at Dallas, and I want to throw myself on the mercy of everybody tuned in that ever heard me go off. I'm truly sorry. I'm not from this planet. My wife think I'm crazy. But a lot of times people didn't know because I didn't want to bring that side. I wanted to feel like a real parent, a rah-rah monster parent. And half the time, Dylan would be like, Dad, don't wear that uniform. And I don't think it was because of anything bad. It was just, even his friends, they didn't know I was an officer until they would stay the night at our house. Or I'll take him somewhere. But I just wanted to keep that separate, just to give him a fair shot of not being looked at as a cop's kid or whatever, because that puts added pressure on him. Now, I did go up to the school a lot in it, just in case somebody wanted to set it off. Or I did safety presentations But I did that for all of the children that ever came in contact with us. Any AAU team will tell you, probably the most vocal are like probably those annoying Coos moms, but we're like the best of friends. So I really enjoyed it. And and you guys were a part of it as well. So thank y'all for everything that you ever did for like Dylan and like any of the AAU teams. Family 2022.
That's good, man. That's
Yeah,
good.
man,
I like that.
indeed, of course, and it was great watching Dylan overcome the adversity of transferring from Humble to Summer Creek, and
Yes.
That's right.
being able to cash out and not fall for the banana in the tailpipe, where a lot of kids lose out on those type of scholarship offers, waiting
Right.
on the Division I offer. He said, "To hell with that.
Right.
I'm going to UT Dallas. I'm getting this."
Right.
How
right.
much? How much percentage of the scholarship are they giving? Are we at the end?
Yes.
How many minutes we guys have?
That's it. You can just get those
That's
from
it?
out. That's it. Yeah.
I let the last question in. So for parents out there that don't understand, your son, the scholarship package that they're giving him to play basketball at this non-Division I institution, a winning program is pretty much what? What are they offering him?
Well, basically, Dylan was right up against the top 10% of his senior class. So in a case like that, UT Dallas is like ranked number 2 or 3 in the nation academically. So they offered him a spot on the team, but academically wise, that's where he's going to reap the benefits.
Right.
So that's how it works.
That's good.
You know?
That's a good job.
Yeah, definitely.
We appreciate Officer Ken Miles. Thanks so much for dropping the nuggets and answering most of the questions. You guys, we didn't get a chance to get to your questions. Sorry about it.
We'll do it again.
Charge it to our head, not our heart. Ain't that how it go, Helen? You see?
Yeah, I like that.
But thanks, of course. And is there any way they can follow you on social media? We about to get up out of here.
Just next door, our station has an extra time, but I'm the Real 50 on Instagram. THE Real 50. Just spell it out. Follow Dylan Miles and follow me. Thank you guys.
Thanks a bunch.
We'll
and we'll go to a quick break and come back with our next guest.
Tell me to push that
Our
red
next
button.
guest.
Okay.
He did. Is Coach John Lucas with the Houston Rockets. We got a quick break, Heather. Yes. Or you going right into it?
Break, right now.
You guys hang right there. Right back.
and get registered today.
Oh, that's it. That's it, Coach. Perfect. Perfect. Jimmy, would you like to introduce our next guest? He done popped up on the screen already.
Yeah, I mean, you done spoiled the fun. Of course, we come as promised on the Chop Shop. We have with us right now. We get right into it. We have Houston Rocket assistant coach John Lucas, who's, guess what, guys, need no introduction. He's a repeat guest, special guest, VIP guest on the Chop Shop. And we had this conversation scheduled from last month when he's wanted to come, and he has a lot of things he wants to get off his chest with you guys. But first and foremost, we get into the NBA component, and that is on this past Thursday or Friday, the NBA has decided that they will proceed with their season, and everything is cleared pretty much. But there's one concern that I have, Coach, that's not being mentioned. What about the coaches that are over 60, 65 years old? People ain't talking much about that because there's at least one on every single staff.
Well, we have two on our staff, so it's going to be an issue. But, they're going to have that's a form of what's going on in our society. That's age discrimination. So we're going to, from what I gather, Adam is making that everybody will see an independent doctor, and then based on your health and where you are health-wise, will they let you go inside and then be a part of it. But I don't foresee that being a problem because you just can't age discriminate.
So now the season starts. When do you guys have to report to Orlando, and how and give us some of the details on how is it going to go down?
Well, everybody's got to be back in their city or where they played on June 21st. And you'll take that week to go through all the testing. You get your corona testing, you get your physical, you get your testing. And then at the beginning of the next week, we can do one-on-one individual work to July the 5th. And then on July the 7th, we go as a team, and all 22 teams will show up in Orlando and begin practicing for 3 weeks. And we practice for 3 weeks and then play 8 regular season games, possibly one back-to-back of those 8 games. And then we'll go into the playoffs. So from July the 7th to the end of the month, we're there until the regular season ends. It's 48 days that'll go into the regular season, and then it's 2 months of the playoffs. So we can be quarantined. You can be quarantined all of that time. We'll be at the Walt Disney. There are 4 hotels we're using. It takes an hour. You have a 3-hour slot to practice, and then it takes them an hour and a half to redo the facility, clean it, sanitize the balls for the next team to come in. So we're going to have about 6 courts, and then they're going to get all the 22 teams in. And it's a 3-hour window to practice, film work, schedule, and your treatment stuff. And then you'll go and play that. Then once you're out of the playoffs, then you can leave. And I think we're going to allow families to come in at that point as we lose some of the teams that don't make the playoffs.
And
so
now,
in other words, you're going to get some real good basketball or some of the worst basketball you've ever seen. Because, for our players, they love playing in front of fans. The second part is, my biggest concern for the league right now is that everybody's body clock is in summer mode. So we've got to get started, because right now we'd be getting ready for summer league, the draft, and just like the body clock, when football season's coming, when fall's coming. That's now has normally been our vacation time. So now we got to get ready to come off vacation and get ready to play, redevelop that chemistry, and it's different. So like this year when the season ends, our 4th of July, your celebration time is now Thanksgiving, and then we're back at work December 1.
Wow.
So it's going to be a little different. It's going to be But in order to get it done, I think it's going to, and we're going to obviously have some people test positive. Hopefully, a lot of people have tested positive so they can have the antibiotics in their system now and to keep moving forward. But if a guy tests positive, he gets to be quarantined and we keep on going. So, you know, there's a possibility if you leave or you go out and you catch it, you know, just it'd be unfortunate if we had to play the Lakers in the first round and LeBron just happened to get the virus.
Now,
I don't wish that for him, but I would hope he get a mild case.
now tell me, how did they determine the 8 opponents that you have? Because a lot of teams had opponents that aren't even part of the 22 teams. So how is it determined of what 8 teams that you guys and all teams will play?
Now, that's a great question. I don't know. We ended up having the 3rd toughest schedule. So, like, let's take our last 18 games before we stop. We had the Lakers, Portland,
Sacramento,
Indiana, Sacramento, and then our month of April, we played everybody who was under 500, who weren't playoff teams. So now we open up with the Lakers, Milwaukee, Indiana, Philly, Dallas, Utah. And it's one more game. That's a tough schedule for us that we can drop from 6th to 7th. It's as easy as we can move up to 4th or 2nd. Makes it tough. So those games are really, really important that we're going to go back and play. And that makes it for exciting. That'll be exciting for us. If we can get the right start, I think it'll be good for us. We really needed this break from a team standpoint because we weren't playing well.
I was,
you know, basketball is a lot like chemistry. You know, you got to have good chemistry. Our chemistry hadn't gotten good for a while. You know, when you know how you've been, you know, you all probably haven't been married. But after 7 years of being married, waking up in the same household, you know, you get kind of old for a minute or two. And then you come on back and then the chemistry gets good again. And then when you get to be about 50, you got one last run that you just want to take a look around out there. You ain't really doing that, but you're just looking around. And then you settle on in for good chemistry. That's where we've got to be now, is that I call it AARP time.
Y'all been looking around. Y'all been looking around. You know what, Coach? It's so unique, though, Coach. We gave Eric Gordon a chance to get healthy. And a lot of people are not talking about that. That's a viable piece that hasn't been as effective this season. That's what I'm loving about it. That's what I'm loving. I don't know what you think about it. Huh?
Well, you know, during the quarantine time, we were out there at the park running. So Eric dropped about 15 pounds. He looks really, really good, and he looks ready to go. You know, the hard part is like we don't have a drop dead date. Now that we do, I think we'll begin to really get back. James looks good. Our whole team looks good as a part of it. And, you know, Russ is out in LA protesting everywhere he can. And, you know, we're going to be good. I'm excited.
So going into the playoffs, were the teams able, you know, like to add player or to pick up player?
We can't add anybody to the roster that hadn't been. So, like, I'll give you an example. Like a guy like Jamal Crawford can't get picked up now. So you can't add anybody that was not in a training camp or on a roster at some point.
But John,
what was the word on him? Where was he going?
Beg pardon?
What was the rumor that where Jamal Crawford was going to possibly land up?
I don't know where that was. If anywhere, it would probably be somewhere like the Clippers, a veteran team that's really trying to make a run. We don't have that need with the guards we have.
Yeah. And John, I was looking, Coach, where now in your case you can't add nothing, but the people who didn't make it to the playoffs, the guys who are not going to make it in the playoffs, they will be able to add people. Like the Miami Heat added, what's the kid's name? Kendrick Nunn last year after they was out of the playoffs.
Yes.
Okay.
So those teams now are going to begin off-season training. They'll begin to do some things, just like it was summer league for them.
Yeah, okay.
For us, it's just we'll treat it as if this was the playoffs, and then those other 4 teams or 6 teams that don't make it, then they can start their free agents and their stuff. But the dates are now set for the draft, free agency, and all of those things, so everybody can participate. But it's going to be good. I actually think we're going to have some of the best basketball because we're all going to be one place and we're going to be focused and with nothing to do, and you really lock in. I think this may be some of the best NBA basketball you've seen in a long time because we're going in shape.
And guess what?
It's just us. It's just us.
And no travel, Coach.
No travel, just us, and no distractions.
Oh.
You know,
So
they
when
got 4 golf courses, but no strip clubs on Disney World. None of that.
what about the side piece?
None of that. We got security all over this place. We can't afford to have anybody get sick or coming. So that we're sharing security. We're shutting down our area. It's almost like a campus where we're going to be. We have 4 hotels that we're using. Now that's going to be a gripe for some of them guys because, you know, the 4 seasons now to the 4 reasons. It's going to be a different hotel.
Coach, they're nice hotels. I've been in them, but they're not used to what y'all been staying. They're not the luxury collection. But Coach, ain't but a couple of months. Coach, I got a question. Huh? What?
You want to go get one team for 48 days?
Do I want to?
Yeah.
If I was getting paid the way y'all was, yes.
That's why we go. That's a funny point. I'm a big fun point. Nobody plays any sport or anything they do. They do it for the love of money.
Yes, sir.
And I always tell players, oh man, I play this game for free. Well, okay, go sign your offer. Oh, I can't do that. Well, then don't tell me you play for free. You won't play for free. The only reason you're playing is because you get paid. The only reason these 8 games are going on before is for the TV package.
Yes.
To create more money because once the playoffs start, the players don't get any more money of the playoffs.
There you go. Now you're smoking.
And just you were talking about right now with the defund the police. That's not gonna happen.
No.
It's about money. It's not gonna happen. It's not going. What they may do is move money in other areas because you know, like you all were talking, mental health is a huge area.
Yes.
And police having to deal with people on drugs or mental health areas when they're out on calls and stuff. That stuff, it weighs on you. So that should be specific needs for people to go do. Sometimes I'm sending somebody out who does not know how to diffuse something that's going on. And one of the worst things you can do is to see one of your family members acting up that you got a lot of anger at because you can't do nothing about it because it's your family. You sometimes take that out on somebody that's a civilian that you don't have any relationship to.
That's a good point.
So the police need to seek help too. We got to get them some form of help because if you're always having to be on guard all the time, when do you relax? It's not like when we grew up, I'm older than you are, the police was a role model. The fireman was a role model.
Yeah.
You know, they put you on the truck, they come turn the water on in the community. But those days are not like that as much because we politicize and trying to get an upper edge on everybody. This what's going on now. I know I did a racism talk to the Rockets employees, and I was telling them, this is a spiritual disease right now. It's people who just are spiritually bankrupt that causes this to have so much separation. You know, we don't have anything to pull from a spiritual place. We just come from anger. We just come from anger. We come from resentment. We come from jealousy. We come from greed. And that's just part. Those are things if you don't police yourself about, then you police others about. Life's hard, man. Right. You know, my dad told me there was 3 P's in life.
Uh-oh.
And he said that from 20 to 35, you probe in life. He said you cheat on your wife. You cheat on your P-R-O-B, probe in life.
Okay.
You cheat on your wife.
Okay.
You're looking for a relationship. You get caught in a whole lot of things.
Okay.
And then he said from about 35 to 50, you prevent.
Okay.
He said you're old enough to know better. Your body can't do all those things, and you begin to settle down and you think about your future. And then he said, from 50 on, you prepared. You preparing to get right with God, so you'll make sure where you're going.
I like
and
that.
I move through life, that's kind of like what's going on for me in my life.
That's good.
I got on drugs early in my life and career. At 35, I sobered up. I mean, 33, I sobered up. Knew better. 35 years later, now, everything come out my mouth. God's good. God's great.
All the time.
All the
Well,
Coach,
Coach, we're gonna take a quick break.
I got a few bones to pick.
Hold on. Hold your bone. We got a quick break.
No, we finna take a quick break. Come on with the bones. Hold on. We need it right now.
For you all. We get ready. Let's get through the sideline. We're gonna have all of the appetizers. Let's talk about what's going on around here.
All right,
Here we go.
Here we go. We'll be back in a minute.
No justice, no peace. 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 No justice.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop. I got some more of Miss Kim when we get back on the next break. Don't think I just stopped there. It was too long. I got some more for you. But before we go any further, we want to talk to John Lucas. John Lucas said he got Jimmy. I knew it was a reason he was coming on this show. So you tell me, I can't wait. I don't know. Hey, y'all, I don't know what they got cooking. I'm just going along for the ride. So, John Lucas, The floor is yours, sir.
Before I die, one of my ultimate goals, I came here in 1976. I've been part of grassroots basketball. And one of my ultimate goals, and I saw Alvin Brooks play in high school. One of my ultimate goals is to see the best basketball player in the world come from Houston, Texas. That's what I want to see before I die. We're way behind right now. I got a gym going with young kids right now. We got to get better teaching. We've got to pull together. I have one agenda. I mean, I got an AAU team, and I got all that, and I have other kids that play on other teams in my gym. I'm not trying to recruit them. I just want to see one time the best player and the face of the NBA be from Houston, Texas. And if we can ever get that, I don't know that we have that right now, but we get ready to get it. I hate so much that I went back to coach because we were building a gym that was teaching and trying to do that. But I went back to coaching and it's falling. Not saying that I was the reason, I'm saying it's just falling off. And then the other thing that got me is that we lost Lil Griggs, who is going out there to California to go play somewhere. I got mixed emotions about that, but I really wish him the best for that because he had everything he needed here as far as support. And I think that sometimes we forget that we think that somebody's water is colder than ours. And we got a lot of power in Houston to help people get to wherever they want to get. I always share that look at the Rockets. We've had Gerald Green, Daniel House, other players that have been there, Isaiah Taylor, a lot of our local players that have been there to get out. Rob Gray, have been there to be able to play and try out for our Houston team. We just got to keep working to try to build that. And so one of the things that I've added to JL3 Elite today, and I hadn't announced, I just finished it today. You all know Delilah Battle?
Yes.
With the NBA, her team. She's merged her young team, to come under JL3 Elite.
Oh, okay.
And I'm really excited about the teaching that she does. She does a great job. I'm excited about her parents. A lot of her parents' parents played with John when he was coming up. B. Scott, a lot of them. So I'm excited about them and their development. Because if we're going to get what I'm hoping we'll get, we've got to start younger instead of waiting till they get to the 10th or 11th grade to really get skills and get the development, because that's almost getting to be like tennis now. It's too late.
Jim?
So what do you think? Do you see that coming over the horizon anytime soon? That perfect storm of the picture you just painted.
Yes, I actually do. You know, the years that we had, TJ, Daniel Ewan, and all of those, they were good, but they weren't there. Then Justice Winslow, Justin Jackson, and all of that kind of, they were good, but they weren't there. I think we have a couple that if they get the right mindset and keep getting the right advice and listen to the right people, we've got some people that got a chance to really have a chance to be lottery picks in the draft based on if things grow. I'm not giving you any names or any of that because I don't want any pressure on those kids. But, you know, God has got to be a factor because they got to grow, get a size, and be all of that. But a lot of that has to be. So, yeah, I really think so. The 22 class, we've got a lot of really, really good young players in that class. And behind those are coming. And the only way to get better, I don't know how you guys feel, is to start young and grow up. That's what player development is. Just like with the Rockets, my job is to create assets, is to take people like Capello and other guys to be able to make that we get trades and create them to become assets to better our team. That makes you invaluable when you can take guys who weren't there and then become, like Daniel House, starts out low, got a great contract now, but he's a great asset to us. And now he's maybe our third or fourth best player.
Now, Coach, I want to get into something. I want to ask you something. Well, since you're back on the Rockets, and we get back in the grassroots next segment. But recently, after this stuff happened with Big Floyd, and you're seeing the statements from the NFL, and then now on yesterday, Matt Barnes, he said that there are some NBA players that are reluctant to play until this social injustice matters are resolved in the NBA. You think that was just rhetoric, or you believe think that has some legs to it?
You know, everybody creates legs when you're not in something. He's no longer in the league, and I don't think the league has. I don't mean that as a knock to him.
No, but
I just
it's
mean
the truth.
But he's not in the league now, so that's something you want to start a fire. You know, I looked at Russell Westbrook, and I tweeted him this morning that I was so proud of him with his picture, being involved. And one of the great things about our league is, as I told the Rockets, you know, they Trey the Truth and I were on together. And so we were talking about what's going on. And they were asking, what more can I do? What more can I? No, just hear us. Just hear us. And our league is one that has always been in front of those issues. And it's primarily because our players are allowed to express themselves. And if they weren't allowed to express themselves, then we would have had a firestorm. But I get what Matt's saying, but, you know, it would have to be somebody that was inside our league to kind of take that on, because, you know, how can you say we have so many injustices when 70% of the league is black?
Indeed.
Now, we may not have enough black coaches, and we may not have enough ownership and higher management, and we may not have, but those guys don't make the bulk of the pie. We make the bulk of the pie. Now, obviously, in all sports, it's you know, one of the biggest things that my mother used to say about basketball. She never wanted to own a team. And I said, why wouldn't you own your own team? She said, well, to me, that's like a form of slavery, because, you know, you own the players, you pay them, and then they have to play and they have to kind of do what you want. And so it's changed from the 60s to that. People are expressing themselves. People are saying what they want to. Like LeBron James's comment to speak up. He helped things when he talked about Drew Brees and the back end of those guys are making impacts and changing.
Yes.
And they're not afraid to use their voice. And I think a lot of that has come through the equality of people just wanting to be more involved. Because like I told the players, there are some people you may change their mind just by what you said because they're young. And that's the beginning of eliminating a lot of the racism that's out there, a spiritual disease I was talking about.
Yeah, because racism, Jimmy,
Yeah.
and John, when we talk about this, I go back and look at a baby. A baby, when that baby come out, that baby don't have no racism problem. That baby gonna treat everybody. That baby is taught to be that way. I'm watching young people out here being taught to be that way. I'm just watching it. It's just and it's a thing. It's not just gonna go away by us just talking to the other race. You gotta understand, John. What I done found out, that uncle you got, that old white racist uncle, you gonna waste your time trying to stop that dude. You're just gonna waste your breath. You're gonna waste your time in your interview. That's just the way he is. You know what, Jimmy? I never forget you told me one time, man, that's just the way I am. And you wait. Your thing is to just do what you can. Don't cast your pearls before swine. In other words, if a person ain't listening, ain't no use in you. Keep finding until you find somebody that listens, John. And John, and I go. You can come in.
You all seen that movie, Thug. It's called Thug Life.
Thug Life.
And people, and it's about this little black girl who saw somebody got killed, and she ends up going to a white school all the time.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so she had two personalities, and her dad taught her that thug life meant the hate you give screws everybody. And it says it screws all the kids. So it comes out at birth. We got to re-educate the kids. And we got to re-educate them and show them the understanding of where that hate starts at the very, very beginning. Very, very beginning. And then the other thing is the Rocky movie. And Rocky, the baby was born with death.
Uh-huh.
And I'll never forget in Creed, it was the movie Creed. And Rocky said to him when the baby, he was all upset about the baby couldn't hear. He said, well, what's wrong? She ain't worried about it. She don't know she can't hear. She ain't worried about it. Why are you creating the word that, ain't that, are you going to love any less? Man, that had a lot of impact on me because, you think about it. I'm getting ready to get angry and the baby don't even care. She don't even know. But now that's harder to do than say it now. Because like one of the things I said to on a call about racism, I said, suppose your daughter, guy was happened to be white, was just at a dance party and they pulled over and she reached in her car to grab a comb, but he thought it was a gun and he shot and killed her. How would you feel? He said, man, I said, we live that every day. That's that talk we talking about. You talking about that talk? That's that talk we give our black kids, our kids to let them know when the police tell you, be quiet, answer firmly, answer correct, and try to get that. See, make sure you're in a lighted area. I don't think you telling all your kids that. I'll never forget, Little John, I lived in Bel Air. I was one of the first blacks in Bel Air.
Yeah.
And so John came on one night, I used to call him the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So he had a little car. Yeah. The windows were too dark. They pulled him over about 1 o'clock. Stripped his car, thought he had marijuana. He looked at his last name, figured out who he was, let him go. He came home, he was sober. I said, I told you, cut your music down, be polite, be on time, but that trauma stayed with him for life.
Ever. Yes, sir. Well, John, we're going to take a quick break. And John, I want you to get...
This group I've seen in a long time.
And John, when we come back, I want you to get to the... that ain't enough. I want some more than nitty gritty you talking about. I want to hear the wild hair you got to pluck. But we're gonna take... I'm trying to find a nice little commercial. I got something for y'all. We're going to go here, John. I just saw it, John. Let's go here.
Mama's been crying and they gonna keep crying. Black folk been dying and they gonna keep dying. The police been firing and they gonna keep firing. The government been lying and they gonna keep lying. Propaganda, news channels, that shit is all for show. Camera phone videos is like all we know, diluting what the eyewitness might really say, because the whole world saw a murder yesterday. Now your account ain't what it used to be. According to them, your eyes can't adjust to the violence that you used to see. Police brutality is all in your mind, and the tactics that they use only look worse and rewind. People die every day, you should get used to it. Hands behind your back, face down, and still say you shoot. Can't breathe, need where your neck be like why you moving. Kids in your car headed home like what you doing. Like why you chilling? Your feelings. Why you smiling when I'm so serious?
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. We're going to ask you right now, if you're on the YouTube page, give us a thumbs up on that page. If you're on the Facebook feed, take out the time to share the show right now to your groups, to your timelines, and to your friends. Take out the time, share the show right now. We have live with us Houston Rockets assistant coach John Lucas is live with us, and guess what? We have a couple of questions for you guys, Coach, but first, we'll go right into it and ask you your thoughts on, you mentioned earlier that a lot of the coaches in the NBA, of course, we know the players, over 70% are black. But the ratio isn't the same in the coaching and the administration and the ownership. A lot of the owners, what are two things you think, even though as cool as some white people may appear to be, but what are two things you think they really don't understand about black people?
Well, you know, it's not a culture of not understanding, Jimmy. It used to be a time when we had a lot more black coaches coaching. Like this initiative program, Steve Kerr, Rick Carlisle, Greg Popovich, Lloyd Pierce, and those guys are talking from an initiative standpoint. But my problem, not a problem with it, is you can feel my pain, but you don't know my pain. And so a lot of times you need to have somebody that has lived the experience to talk about the experience. I mean, it's like when I deal with people with drugs and alcohol, like a lot of counselors I interview, and they get mad because they say, well, I've never been on drugs. Well, then you can't tell me nothing about being on no drugs. Because you can tell me how you think you feel. Because like, here's my two words. I said, when an addict or alcoholic gets ready to go back and use, what are the two most famous words he says before he screws up, before he goes back and uses drugs? It's two words they always say. When you get ready to do something that you know that ain't right, what are the two words you say? Man, you say, man, I know I ain't supposed to go over here. I ain't supposed to do that, but
F it.
And I'm on my way. I got it. That's exactly how this is. And you have to, and then everybody you talk to that isn't doing drugs, they relate to that because those are the two words are what they say to get them in trouble. So the same thing is like in coaching with this. It's a long time. One of the hardest things for people in this form of racism, okay, it's hard for people to see me discipline you two. Because it's hard for another black to discipline other blacks, then there's no need for you to come in and discipline us. So it's real hard sometimes when you see me running the show and remember Obama was the president?
Yes, sir.
Remember how nobody wanted to do nothing for him while he was in office? They weren't going to help him one bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, some people were against it. Said they're going to make him a one-term president. But keep going.
Exactly. That's exactly because they didn't want to see him. So sometimes people have a problem with who's in power. So like when you, and sometimes I run into, when I get other guys, or I can say something to you that somebody else, when I have to determine, like, I'm going to coach him like we're at the rec. Because I'm going to use some different kind of language. they may not can use that language with him and it be acceptable. See what I'm saying? So sometimes we have, and then a long time when I played, you could play 2 blacks at home and 3 on the road.
Wait a minute, that was the rule?
Yeah, that was the ruling a long time ago, long time ago.
Okay.
So like Hank Aaron and those gave me the history of when they stayed in the porters at the end of hotels because they couldn't stay with the rest of the team because they didn't allow blacks.
Wow.
So this is something that's been all the way through, and it's not anything. And if you notice, we only have 1 black owner.
Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan.
Who may own the worst franchise in the league.
No.
No, because of the market.
Oh, the market.
That's
okay, gotcha.
The blue belt market.
Yes.
It's hard to draw games. They're fighting the ACC,
that's a good point,
which is rival games, and they got a whole lot of games there.
Great.
And it makes it tough. And then they don't like, and Sunday evenings in the South, that's where I'm from, they're in church. They're not coming out to NBA games. Mm-hmm. So, and then the market is really small. But Michael was from North Carolina, so that made a lot of sense. And who owned the team before Michael?
Bob Johnson.
Say what?
Bob Johnson.
Okay.
Black man.
And what did he own?
Huh?
What did he own?
BET, Black Entertainment Television. Sold it to Viacom for $2 billion. Gave his wife $1 billion. He kept $1 billion, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and and another thing, speaking about what you said, we've got to go back and get our Black history back out of what we've done. A lot of people don't know how much we have contributed in this society that has been erased in our history books, Jimmy. I think you really think the peanut came from planters. Booker T.
Washington Carver.
Yeah, Washington Carver.
But Coach, you know what I was thinking about? I mentioned earlier about
one more.
Come on.
You think the Four Corners came from Dean Smith? Came from Johnny McClendon?
Keep going.
You think the Kansas Break came from somebody in Kansas, Fog Allen? Came from Johnny McClendon?
Wow.
The Run and Gun came from Johnny McClendon. So much in basketball and so much in sports and in history has been taken that we started music.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't know our history. Who architects Washington, D.C.? Black man.
Yeah.
From Houston. So our history, sometimes we forget that we were a big part of history and we don't have anybody to tell us our history. My dad used to always tell me, know when to play dumb. So I said, what do you mean? He said, well, as being black, as slaves, we couldn't let our masters know we could read. So if you pulled up to the stop sign and you stopped, he go, could you read? He said, no, I'm just guessing.
So, Coach, I want to get your thoughts on something that happened recently.
And my dad's 99 years old. So he gives me all of this history, and I'm going, what are you talking about? I haven't ever seen this.
Come on,
now, what are your thoughts on, speaking of the racism, the alleged atmosphere that was presented that, according to the former player from at Texas State, for Coach Danny Casper and by his former players, it was more than one player. And what are your thoughts on something like that? And especially, and also, what are your thoughts on, somebody asked, do you see the reality of a lot of the young kids now with the movement and they're tweeting about possibly their interest in HBCUs for top shelf players? Do you actually see that going into fruition and then passing up all them sacks to go to HBCU to prove the point? Give us your take on both of those.
All right, first of all, young kids have never really had a voice when you're on a team. One of the hardest things in the world, that was a coach, I won't call his name, he hated my son. He hated Lil Jon. Yeah, I mean, hated Lil Jon. Because like Lil John, he was cocky. Lil John had the best Nike package because I'm on the board of Nike. So he would have, and he didn't need anything from them just to be coached. So, the coach told the other coaches, I can't coach him. I don't know how to coach a rich black kid. Just coach him. But most coaches a long time ago, if kids need a ride home, need tickets, need help, then they think that they have a way over you. Today, with so much social media and the way you address kids, you can't address them like that anymore, because if the kids don't like you, they'll turn it against you. 2, that'll happen. 3, the climate has changed where you can't talk to them like that. I could say the same type of things, but by me being in the gym, like sometimes, there'll be a white young kid in the gym and he'll be guarding the guy and he's not guarding him close enough. You know what I tell him?
Right.
Black Lives Matter, get up.
Right.
Now, if I'm white, that might come the wrong way.
Right.
And so that's where the incentive and the things that we were talking about, discipline and things, some people can't say the things you can to get to the people that other people can. I don't know why that is. That's one. Second, I wanted to go to Winston-Salem State Teachers College when I came out of college. That's all I knew. Earl Monroe, Black Jesus down there in Winston-Salem.
That's right.
And Big House Gaines told me, don't go to school here. You get out of here. Go to school, go to Maryland, be seen and try to get your future. It's real great that this movement for kids to want to go to historical black universities, I got an argument about it. That's great. They won't go. Because of the facilities, the atmosphere. Well, in 10 years, we'll change it. Who wants to wait? Tell me the player that's going to be the first 2 or 3 to change it to 10 years. So he goes there and they play the play-in game against Carolina and they get beat. He got seen one time on national TV. The games at the SWAC or other college, and I'm not saying that they can't go there and it generates money. We don't have the background of it set up. I would like to see it. I think it would be great, but I just think that so many hidden agendas with this that relate to money won't let that happen. And I'm the biggest one for it. But let's take I'll give you an example. Let's say LeBron James went to Texas Southern. All right. Would he have sold 200 pairs of Nike shoes? Let's say that Bryce Griggs, our local kid here, One Island, goes to school there. Does he go in the lottery?
We don't know.
Well, the questions would be the competition he plays. And those guys are really good. The competition, he didn't play against any size. I mean, it's a whole lot of things. Now, if we got 10 to go to historical black universities, then that's a different ballgame. But one, it's like now, public schools. Let's call it like it is. Why are everybody going to private schools? Kincaid, St. John's, Episcopal, the facilities. That was the knock about U of H for the longest. They've got changed now, but the facilities. So now when you're looking for the better athletes, they're where? At some of the SBC schools in the district. They're personal.
And Coach, what are your thoughts on Oklahoma State?
You disagree with that?
No. Nobody disagree with it. We just agree with you. I know we got.
No, I'm asking because we all are we gonna holler black or we gonna holler fair? Are we gonna tell a kid what's the best opportunity? Or are we gonna holler black? See, when you become a mentor and including to tell kids what to do, you sometimes have got to help them make the wrong choice in spite of what looks to be popular. So let's say we get a lot changed with what's going on in the climate, and in 3 weeks or 2 months that climate changes, then it's back to normal business. Now what?
Well,
See, like all the time, sometimes we want to do what's sexy right now. But I want to be that. I want to be that turtle. I want to keep on walking, keep on walking, keep on walking. Not be that butt rabbit that jumped 2 times and then my energy button is out. I want the long game.
That's interesting.
So that's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that any of it's different and everybody's announcing it, because if you do it, it looks sexy, get more followers. If you're gonna do it, then say I commit.
Wow.
A lot of players have made it from HBCU. You know, a lot of players have really made it. But to be a real mentor or to really help somebody, these are the tough questions that we gotta answer kids now. So okay, Jim, okay, let's say you got a kid, he's really, really good. Let's cut through the BS. I got a coach that's gonna get $100 grand to get him to go to a Power 5 school. And Johnny Jones is gonna bring me $5 grand. Where I'm going? Huh?
He probably gonna get the bag.
When you get ready to rank that guy in RCS Sports, and they bought you 10 packets, and they bought a half a packet. Where you going? Where you gonna promote?
Well, he's gonna probably go get that bag. Everybody,
but coach,
in most cases.
Hold on, Coach and Jimmy. Coach and Jimmy, hold on 1 second. Give me 2 minutes, and y'all can come back into this. Just give me 2 minutes. I got to take these 2 minutes, and we'll come back. Take a break.
You see that
Chop
brim?
shop.
You see that brim go to the side?
Peacefully. Freedom is never safeguarded peacefully. Anyone who is depriving you of freedom isn't deserving of a peaceful approach by the ones who are being deprived of their freedom. And when black people in this country come out from under the mental straitjacket that the Negro clergymen have placed them in, and begin to see that the only way you can get freedom is to get it the same way the white man in this country got it from England, or he says he got it from England. He was willing to pay the price for freedom. When you're willing to pay the price for freedom, then you'll get it. But the Negro in this country has never been willing to pay the price for his freedom. All of the price that we have been paying in the past has been freedom for the white man. We fought abroad so that the white man in America could be free today to sick police dogs on us, to beat our people in the heads with police clubs, and to turn water hose on little women and children and babies simply because they want to walk down the street like decent human beings. That's now the only way you can have peace is to eliminate those injustices, and the American white man is not going to eliminate them. He's going to talk that pretty talk, but he'll still continue to practice those inhuman deeds.
To this day, as if 400 years of slavery wasn't enough. From the womb as a black man, we was born to be tough. Lynched, whipped, burned was the thing of the past. But to this day, jailed, raped, gunned. How long will it last? As if Malcolm X and MLK wasn't a must. As Eric Garner, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin all died from, well, just being us. Dark like molasses, black like the night. United we stand, together we fight. Fighting for Ahmaud Arbery and all of the others. Tell me why y'all killing all our sisters and brothers to this day? I don't remember a time when none of my people did anything to you people other than work hard and try to be equal. Now y'all mad at protesters and riots? We showed you nothing but peace. We done being quiet.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. We have John Lucas, Coach John Lucas, the Houston Rockets, in the building giving us, oh my goodness, Jimmy, giving us a history lesson. Jimmy, I'm going to let you finish. Coach John, let me tell you something, Jimmy. Jimmy, you can't get quiet when the Godfather come on, man. You can't get quiet. Now, you talk crazy when I say something. When the Godfather come, boy, what? I want to hear. I want to hear.
Jimmy, you made a great point earlier. We were off the air. If these kids were really considering, have them commit now. Have them commit.
That's basically my.
The grade. Have them commit, and let's get 5 or 6 kids committing, and let's see if it's real.
That's my response to that whole topic. Is understand something. According to the NCAA, players may not sign letters of intent until their senior year. The second Wednesday in November is basketball. Well, if all these underclassmen want to tweet out how great it would be and this and that about the HBCU and play coochie coo with it and try to persuade you and stimulate your minds to make you really believe that it's real, then guess what? They can still commit. At least you can change your commitment if you want to every doggone week. But if you get not just one, but let's say 3, 4, 5 young people commit to the same HBCU, just if they want to just play an April Fool's joke and just do it, I can guarantee you that all hell would break loose if they was just they would launch an NCAA investigation.
Jimmy, you know how you love street cred, right? You love street. You love street cred. You gonna fake me out? You gonna commit me?
But they not from the hood anyway. Ain't no HBCUs in California.
You gonna fake me out?
It's easy. But this is what I'm saying, though, Blue. A kid from California can say it all day. He ain't got no repercussion.
Hey, John, can I butt in 1 second? Because I've been hearing these people talking about kids are clout chasing. They ain't going to these things. We need to stop it. Okay. And somebody help me with this one. John Lucas, what do a kid got that has 2 million followers on social media need the clout chase that put all the HBCUs use together? They don't have that many followers. And they need the clout chase to say they're going to HBCU. And I'm just talking about this one kid. Got 2 million. Tell me how he's trying to clout. Y'all done already gave him the clout. When I looked at his 2 million followers, and every time he tweets something, check this out, John. Every time he tweets something, 50 to 60,000 people are liking it. But he clout chasing? Explain to me that, John, please.
First of all, I always tell people, guys on the team with contracts, do you really think you're going to be with the owner when it's over? So these kids are telling kids about people following them and everything. I wish they work on their games. And pros don't have to tell you they pros. They show you they're pros. And I was just telling our 16 team, a lot of them are beginning to get offers. And I told them, you put the offer up there, and that's nice. Move on. Because you're not ready to take an offer. But the problem that we have now is everybody wants to see how much, because this is what kids are told. You got 2 million followers. That's like a city. That helps you with Nike when your contract comes up, that you got 2 million followers today.
Right.
When you get drafted and get in the league and it falls off, then you ain't got no more followers and you out the league. Michael Jordan said a big thing. I mean, The Last Dance had a lot of truth and it had a lot of false. But Michael Jordan said one thing that was unbelievable.
What did he say?
He said, if you gonna take 3 hours out of your day to watch me play, it's my duty to work as hard as I can to perform so you can see me. You know how powerful that line is? And guess what? He didn't miss no games. There wasn't no load management for him. He played every night.
Even when Coach, even when he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, he played every night. But, we're not made that way anymore. We're made that less is more. And like that, people get mad. Basketball is a young sport. Everybody trying to preserve their body to make more money longer. I get it. Okay. But it's a young sport. And if I got a 35-year-old mind operating against a 22-year-old kid, more than likely that 35-year-old mind going to outsmart that 22-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So that's why the longevity is for people to stay longer. But basketball is meant to be young, a young sport. So it's a big, huge difference. about that. And guys, look, let me tell you, when these followers, it's all about because the guy did me with my Twitter feed. Coach, we can enhance your feed and we can enhance the things you do. But I said, well, then that ain't real. And then he said, well, we can buy you 2 or 3 million followers. What? Buy me some followers. And I got Daffy Duck and all these people, kids from China and kids all over. I mean, and it looked good until the Twitter people go through and snatch them all away. But you guys, and I know we got to go in the time.
No. Come on, Coach.
You all are so important to grassroots basketball. You got to keep this thing, what you all are doing, the inception of it, and where you're going to spot, because you got to continue to educate. Right. Every year I meet new people who don't know. And then the older I get, I sound to be some wise guy. Because the older I get, and I'm trying to find somebody to be the mayor of basketball who don't need nothing. But it's real hard for pros to come out of a sport and not make the same kind of money they used to make. So we don't have those grassroots people because they're still at that 35, like when we talked about prevent, they still want to chase money. They're not really ready to give back yet. And they're not really ready to embrace the fact. They're really trying to see if I can get paid off there or I can represent them. The best gyms are free gyms because you can put them out. And I don't need you to come to my gym to make my gym better. Because, if you continue, guys now, if I work you out and you play for me, I'm only going to push you so far. That's one of the things that I wanted to be really big about because I like to do player development and then let the coaches coach because now the coach has you. But for the player development time that I think is so critical, then you're on my time. I ain't got to play you. I ain't got no minutes for you. I just got knowledge for you.
So, Coach, what are you expecting from Cade Cunningham? Will he be in a uniform, Oklahoma State, or the G League?
It's really funny. I just got a call from the G League people about him, as whether they're, like to offer him a contract or whatever they're going to do in that regard. And the problem they got is if they get too many players, they may need a second team. And I'm going, all of them going to come in and come off the bench. So why are you worried about whether they're going to start or who? And y'all got the wrong concept. None of them coming in and playing right away on a good team. So why are you worried about having 6 or 7 guys? The idea is develop them to be pros. Because, they're going to have to play against pros.
You know what?
So, and then for me, somebody asked me about Mike Borden and what I thought about that, the way that went on at Oklahoma State, and John went to school there. Is that because he hired his brother or what they tried to do, or he's free to go to any other school to other do? I don't see that they go, well, he'll be in college for 6 months and he'll be leaving anyway and doing that. Well, then if that's the case, then stay where you're at. Stay where you're at. Coach. Because you're going to be leaving in 6 months anyway. And then with the virus and what's going on, you don't know if there's going to be a season or not anyway, if that's what you're going to do. If you're not going to stay and you go to another school just to be eligible to play and still leave, what is that? But those are tough conversations that what you have to have. Because then I'm going to say, if you leave, you only went because your brother was there. So then it looked like what the deal was got my brother, got me. They squeezed me.
Coach, I noticed something that you said in there that was glossed over, and I want to reiterate this. The NBA called you, people. The NBA called you to ask about a player in this region. See, some people probably just might have glossed over that and did not know that the NBA will call you about players in this area?
Well, it's grassroots stuff. Jimmy's part of the NBPA Top 100. You're a part of that, and so we're developing that. So they ask about players, but I've seen 3 or 4 years of him. I really like him as a kid as he's developed. Saw him and played on the Nike circuit. I think he's got a really good chance and to be a great player. And so it's also they call this thing is all about relationships. Rod Strickland's one of my best friends. He and Sharif grew up. They're the guys that got to decide. So they don't take all of my opinions. Like you and Jimmy, y'all say, "Oh, I ain't doing that." But but you did have some input. Like Penny called me about a kid that he just got that was from Houston, DeAndre Williams.
Yeah.
So you didn't know that, Jimmy. So you missed that.
Yeah. Jimmy didn't miss it. I told him.
Jimmy being quiet today, I really don't like that.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what.
Jimmy, I had a 3-legged dog one time. His name was Lucky.
Now what I'm doing is I watched yesterday. I watched the 2 fights with Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. And then last week I watched the George Foreman fight. So I call myself just doing the rope-a-dope, let you guys just talk yourself on out. Hell, that ain't working. Ain't no rope-a-dope with y'all. I'm just saying, well, they gonna just talk yourself on out. But in truth, do you think that it was that this Oklahoma State got a raw deal because SFA, even those different violations, but just 2+ weeks ago, the NCAA allowed their basketball program to defer their punishment to the following year for a postseason ban. So SFA was picked to come in first in the Southland Conference, and they get to play this magical season out, and it gives the coaches 1 year to get to that a stage, NCAA tournament possibly, and get the hell up out of there. So I mean, the next coach coming in going to walk in the door with probation.
Jimmy, that's a tough call. And yeah, you're right. You never know how that is and what the decisions are made. A lot of people call me and that was because he was a black coach and everybody's trying to say this and all to say that. I don't know. All I know is I screwed Jay up. I really screwed my youngest son up. He went to Florida and he played the first year, made the all-freshman team. Second year, he played 22 minutes in an exhibition game and lost the whole year. And he transferred and lost the whole year and didn't get it back. And we appealed it, mental anguish, wanted to be closer to home, lying our ass off. Everything we did to try to get it back. But we didn't get it. But it hurt him because he really only then had 2 years to play, 1 really year to play. So he sat out and ended up being penalized for 2 years.
Why you say you messed him up, though? How you mess him up?
Well, first of all, I told him not to go there.
Okay.
Because they just won 2 championships. He was a McDonald's All-American, and he was little. But they didn't have any players. Nick Galathes here, Chandler Parsons, and they were hoping to get Patrick Patterson at that time. So when he went there, I told him, I said, look, you're from Houston, you're like 5'9". They're going to make sure that the Mr. Basketballs in Florida are going to be successful because the grassroots coaches are going to have enough pressure on them that they are going to play. You're not going to impact and change the game like that at your size. And then they recruited another little guy from New York next year named Irvin Walker, who's about Jay's size. So now we got 2 small guys. This ain't going to work. Now, there's a comments about he's New York tough. He got a New York toughness to him. Jay didn't have that. Jay was a savvy player. He won't go bust a lip or nothing out there playing. He won't go get a floor burn too bad. So he wouldn't have that. So he transferred, ended up going to Texas. They appealed it. He sat out all of those games. Sat out the next year. And only had a year and a half to play. And now, not only does that hurt him, Jimmy, he gets behind because he has no games or no anything to do other than practice. under those 2 years. So he's now really behind because he ain't played.
Gotcha.
So it's real important that when these kids, and we talked about a lot, picking HBCU schools, going to schools, people have really got, because now a college scholarship, 1 year offer. Let me say that again. College scholarship, 1 year offer. In the portal pool, I can pull that scholarship to take somebody to get you on my team. You know, people ought to be nervous. Cade Cunningham, if he does go somewhere and they have to take somebody's scholarship, they take his scholarship to put him on. It's over.
Yeah. Now, Coach, tell us about the JL3, your program that you sponsor, the grassroots program. And I'm hearing that, and I'm looking at the makeup of that team, that this was supposed to be a pretty good year for your 15U and possibly your 16U, which was 15 last year, made it to Peace Jam. So what happens now with the no EYB and season for you guys?
Jimmy, it's now that you know that the EYBL is one piece, but I'm really struggling with the virus. My parents are really thirsty to play. They want to play, and I have to kind of watch out because I'm following the NBA league, which I'm in that league. For me, I'm following the EBYL because we're in that league and they aren't playing, and everybody wants to play, and there's no social discipline. We don't know if you get the virus. I mean, I'm creating release forms right now that if you play, you're going to release me from charging me if anything happens to your kid. Because it's just, I hear, and event operators who make this their way of making income, I get it. I mean, I get it. But it's a lot, like for practice, Jimmy, with the Rockets. We got a 3-hour window, and guess what they have to do after we leave down in the quarantine? An hour and a half, they got to clean the facility before the next team comes on. So now we're going to text the team that, come on in the gym, it's your time to play, we wipe down the balls. So if the NBA is taking an hour and a half to clean the facility for the other team to come in, what am I saying to play in some non-sequential AAU games? But I get it. I get it. I would want my son to play too. I get it. But it's got to lead to something. So I have been in tremendous turmoil. Marlon Lowe does a great job for us, and Richard Law and the guys. And then we have a third team. We have two groups now. And I haven't even told you. We have JL3, which is a local team for 15s, because I'm trying to give them a chance to be seen. And then JL3 Elite. And that's my EYL group. So like our JL3, they really want to play. So they're playing. I think they're going to play in one of the teams are going to play in Clyde. And I think Delilah and those other young kids may play in those. And I'm okay with younger kids playing because of what they say. But you know, and I tested the parents, and so I got a couple of parents that scuffle with it, and then others who really want to play. So it makes it tough, man, because the ultimate goal, I'm big on the training. I love to take all of June and just train. And then all of July, but then I get it. And then I saw when somebody has some events or 2 games and there's no coaches there. But then as and you guys can relate this, why would I spend $3,000 every week to go down just to play 2 games that nobody see? And me as a coach, I don't watch stream games.
Coach.
So now next year,
I got one for Coach. Jim, I got one for Coach, right quick, Coach. Now, you said, and the kids want to play, right? Parents want to play, kids want. What's the difference in playing and training? Because they still have contact. They still in the gym. People still in the gym. What's the biggest difference in training? I guess no audience and you know in playing. What's the biggest difference?
The great question. The answer is, I'm pretty familiar with everybody that comes in the gym because there's no new people.
Okay.
I know where they've been, so I know that it's safe and the gym is cleaned every day.
Okay.
So I'm already aware of who's in there, and it's pretty much the same group.
Okay.
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 The second thing is, I don't know where those guys from Austin, Dallas, Galveston, where they've been and who they see. So let's say Jimmy, the three of us were in the studio together, and Jimmy got the virus. You'd have to be tested. I'd have to be tested. Everybody that I have been in contact got to be tested. Everybody you've been in contact got to be tested to make sure. So that's enough. And then I had to go get a test because somebody had told me that they had it and didn't know it and had the virus. I had to go get the swab. And then that was an uncomfortable feeling. But I was up all night because they said, we'll let you know in the morning. So I didn't know. I said, oh my God. And I didn't have it. But, you know, it's a lot. And the question becomes, here's the question. Are my priorities right? And I know Jimmy's got an event coming up, and I know some other people, and they're waiting. I get it. And I don't have it. So I put it on the parents that you want to play, play. You want to do it? And then they said what you said. Well, they're in the gym playing. And my answer was, yeah, but we know what that environment's been.
I can control that environment.
Yeah, but I can't control where other people have been and coming in. And like even now at the gym with the pros and the guys that do individual workout, we spray the balls down, close the gym, and it's the same group. It's the same group. So it's a tough call, and it really is. And somebody's gonna get it, and then it's never, Jimmy, all right time.
Okay.
You know, you can wait all of June and say, well, I took all of June to see other events. That doesn't mean that's right or wrong.
Right. Right.
But, you know, if they have if somebody has a live event and college coaches are there and it's your senior year, then I think it's a must. If you can, but if it's controlled. So it's a tough question, but I've gone back and forth with it because I don't want to look like a hypocrite. If one of my players get it and I'm with the Rockets in the NBA, they ain't playing yet, you know. But then I call it, I ain't worth a damn because you keeping your teams from playing, you know. And then the next thing is you hide your team because they ain't playing, you know. But you're not gonna get me with that because I'm not running from anybody to play.
So it's basically up to those parents of individuals.
Yeah.
Now, my question is now, since we're speaking of the EYB and the EYBL, that's the grassroots league that is produced by Nike, and JL3. Next year, of course, you had the 16s. You didn't have a 17s this year. So what's the plan for 2021 for JL3? Will you fulfill a 17U team on the EYBL circuit?
Well, there's two questions. I think Nike's going to lower their teams down from however many that they had, 17 anyway. I don't think they're going to carry as many teams as they had. You know, one of the things that favor us is that we were in Peach Jam. We were there. We were going to be very good. And then I didn't want to have a 17 team this year because I didn't think we were good enough. And I think our 16s would be really good enough for 17. And, you know, I only been there 40 years, Jimmy.
Well, LeBron, remember now, ain't no what they call shooting stars. Ain't no more shooting stars now either right now.
Well, you know, and that's something they got out of. You know, they got out. They chose to get out of that. But I'm sure if LeBron wanted to do that again, he could do that.
Well, I mean, they got bumped. LeBron just stepped to the side, but they got bumped on out. They got the little bump.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be good enough, and I think that's going to be a real question for a lot of people because people who weren't going to be good this year could be out. But I do know what Nike was going to do this year was everybody was going to Peach Jam, and all the teams were going.
And so now Houston is down to only 3 sneaker-sponsored programs on the 17U circuit. the Adidas has subtracted, I think, 2 different programs because last week, James Harden announced that he was ceasing all operations for 2020 for his Team Harden program. And what I know you got to see James all the time. So what was his? But is he ceasing operations for his Arizona program?
I don't think he's doing that. I think the Arizona program will still be there. I don't know what they're doing. I know Greg is coaching over at Rice now. Greg Howell used to work with him, and I think that they had some other things. So I don't know what's going to happen with that as far as that. I think that they'll eventually be, I think he said that there are 3 teams. I was talking to Clyde Jackson because he was telling me about his tournament, and he told me he could only be 1 dog in Houston, and that was him. And he couldn't wait to beat the J off my jersey.
That what Clyde said?
Yeah, I really like Clyde. Clyde does a great job. And so does Aaron Harrison, and so does everybody else. And the hoops with Tim Schumacher, everybody does a really good job. My ultimate goal is to get people into school. I told you my goal is to try to find the best player from Houston, Texas, to be the face of the NBA. I would be ready to go to heaven if we could have that. We've been close, but I haven't been able to pull that off. We haven't been able to pull that off yet.
And so lastly, Coach, as we ready to land the plane, you mentioned earlier, you said it. You had something else to get off your chest.
Yeah.
On grassroots. He got 3-4 things. He got 3-4 things to get off his chest all the time. And what in closing? Give us some words.
The one thing that I want parents, when these are new parents coming up, that you have got to treat basketball and training like it's paying the electric bill. Really research who gives you the best deal and the best quality of service so you can get better. I mean, it hurts us because it really hurt me that Bryce Griggs left. He's going to school because it hurts our city. It means we weren't good enough to keep him in the city. Not his issue, not his concern. He does it. That means we as a collective basketball community in grassroots have got to do better. We got to stop fighting and pulling against and lying on others. I only been in this a little bit, and I'm above afraid because I get excited to go to the Rockets because I have to deal with a whole bunch of this. But it's so much else when the ultimate goal is kids. I don't know if it's for the kids, and I don't know because I come from a different place as being a coach and being a person who probably doesn't need the money or some of that. But I got one agenda, just to try to help. I ain't trying to take your kids. I'm not trying. I just want to help. And I think that we've got great people like everybody that's coaching with us have come up through our system. I've had Marlon for 20 years and known him. He's one of the best. And Richard came through. Lil John, who runs the skill work, my own son. And then I try to get TJ over there as much as possible to him. And then Rafa's in there. That's what I got pros trying to help our young kids get to where they want to be and to help because, it helps them. But we just got to find a way that it's not about us. Mm-hmm. It's about them.
That's awesome, John.
And I get it. I mean, I'm not excited to talk to John Calipari. He's a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? Right. So for me to have him with me, I'm expecting that conversation. But for somebody else, the first time call, and you got Calipari on speed dial, that brings you a different atmosphere of power. I figure I get that call. You know what I'm thinking? Somebody don't smoke too much weed and he need help.
And Coach, it's funny you said that about your agenda. And I looked at when TJ Ford came in and was in his goal to me, when he was talking to me, I don't know what was going on out there in that basketball sphere, but he kept saying, Rob, all I want to do is help the best players. I'm trying to get the best. I want to get the best out of Houston that I can. I want to get the best out of here. But people tell me, no, you're trying to steal my players. John Lucas, you're trying to steal my player. I think it's just it's a misconception, and people just think that you guys just want to come in and just take their player, and don't understand you guys really don't need. You just said, I don't need Calipari to validate me. Only reason you would have him, he call you if somebody's in trouble. So, but I think the misconception in public is that, man, these guys trying to control our kids. These guys trying to control our kids. I think that's a big problem right there, John.
Well, it's really funny. I talk to Eddie Lampkin all the time. I talk to LJ Crowd. I talk to other guys. I talk to, Trish Griggs. I talk to you. And, I give a funny story about TJ. TJ was going to retire. Remember when TJ got hurt?
Yes, sir.
I called TJ up, and he and John were really friends. I said, TJ, you cannot leave $13 million on the table.
That's right.
You come in the gym. We're going to learn how to fall. We're going to do this. We're going to get ourselves back. And in less than 3 months, TJ was playing again for the Toronto Raptors. Got the rest of his money, all $13 million, which helps him and his family. And then next year, now, he didn't want to keep doing the maintenance. When he got hit again, he didn't do the maintenance he should have been doing to maintain his body, because it was just so much work.
Yes.
At some point you get tired of working 5 hours a day just to be able to play.
Yes.
Yes. So and you end up thinking, I can get away. I hope I don't get hit. Then when he got hit the last time, it was time to go. But you couldn't leave $13 million for you and your family on the table, because you're going to find out when you don't have money. Right now, TJ, I told him, when you go to the bank, they will let you cut the line because of your money. When you don't have this money no more, you're going to be in the back of line like the rest of us, waiting to get your stuff done. But where you are, you can cut the line. But you're going to find out real quick, when their uniform come off, they may not recognize you like they used to.
You talking about in the private banking? In the private banking?
All right, Jimmy, I'm going to leave you with this, Jimmy.
Okay.
I see your mind going over there.
Yeah.
I see your mind thinking, you know what he's thinking about.
What? Getting something to eat?
Yeah, I see. Jimmy's event. He's thinking, what in the world I'm going to do about my event? You go on, Jimmy, have that event.
Hey.
You go do it. Other events are already out there.
Yeah.
People are doing it, and try to do the best you can with social agendas and things. We got to get moving.
Right.
We got to get moving. I express you my concerns. I didn't express you the world's concerns. Those are my concerns. People are already playing, and there are things that will be done. Do the best you can, move forward, and keep on going. Don't let that be something that keeps you from doing it, because, all the time this community seems to want to beat you up when they get a chance to beat you up instead of lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, I was giving you my struggles and things with what I have that was going on with me because of my other positions that I have going on. And then, can't nobody come in my house with my grandbaby. Ain't nobody been in my house in 3 months. Because of her. And I'm going in other people's house, but yet you can't come in my house.
Right.
So it's just different time, but we got to get moving.
Okay.
We can't be scared. Okay. And we got to get moving. Guys, I really want to thank you all.
Man, we thank you, Coach. We got to get out of here too, man.
Hey, appreciate it. Hey, man, Coach. Hey, guys, it's John Lucas, and we let him go. And guess what? Rope-a-dope don't work on Coach Lucas. We figured that out today. I tried to do rope-a-dope. And I got to go watch some more Ali movies. Some more fight. That show didn't work, man. Appreciate it, of course. And guess what, guys? Always great to get the nuggets that he dropped. And, of course, and shout out also to HPD Officer Ken Miles, who preceded John today and dropped nuggets. Today was indeed a classic show. Come back on tomorrow. We're going to have a couple of college coaches that's going to join us. And on tomorrow and Wednesday, we will be joined by Women Rock Wednesday, a Harris County Sheriff Deputy, who will give us some intel and share her thoughts from their side of the fence in dealing with this in the aftermath of George Floyd, as well as the nationwide protest for against social injustice and against police brutality, amongst other things.
And
Lastly,
also on Thursday, we might have a special guest. You told me to confirm. You have to confirm him every day.
It's got grassroots program as well. We have a grassroots conversation, as well as we're expecting another NBA, a former NBA star, to join the convo. So we filled with star-studded conversations on the Chop Shop. Sorry for you guys who didn't get to your questions.
Yes.
As you guys see, hey, once again, I tried to rope-a-dope. Coach didn't stop. And we are, in case you're wondering about the breaks and the commercials, we are going and trying to get back into shape for where we were on the actual radio dial, because the Chop Shop has agreed to a television deal, and which we will share the details with you maybe late on in the week. But so we'll be on the television screen coming up shortly this month, starting before the end of June, as once the ink dries and everything. So we got to get back into shape of doing segments. So meanwhile, we invite you, if you have a small business, if you work at a company that are interested in advertising on the Chop Shop, we have some very affordable rates for you guys, depending on how many spots you would like to get. You see Brian Jolivet, and he's soaking them up right now with his spots running for his events that'll be upcoming on the grassroots scene. It doesn't matter what your business is, as long as it doesn't involve gambling, then we will be able to run it on the Chop Shop, because the vast majority of our audience are adults. So if you have a sports bar, we'll be able to run all of that. Now we're not going to run any gambling site ads. We're not going to go into that territory right now. But once again, you send the email to ChopShopHTX, ChopShop, HTX @gmail.com. ChopShopHTX@gmail.com. That's our email address. If you are interested in getting your ad up and running on the Chop Shop, and you'll be running, hey, we can get you up there tomorrow if that's what you want to do. So make sure you contact us. Tell what you got.
And Jimmy, let me add, even the background that you have, you see that we have race where we can put your banner or your information in our background, and it can be showing a certain segment of the show. So it's just so many. But Jimmy, what I would like to plead to everybody on the Facebook, if you've been our friend on Facebook, do me a favor and go over and subscribe to YouTube also. We got this big push that we're trying to do with YouTube that will expand. Remember, YouTube is owned by Google. Google is the #1 search engine in the world. That makes YouTube the #2 search engine in the world. So do us a favor, come over, and so our imprint can be far wider and far reaching on both sites. Thank you to people who are already there, and we just want you to be able to be in both places. We want you to be nimble, Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? So it's unbelievable, Jimmy. I just great show, 2 great guests. I mean, and you can only get that on the Chop Shop. So after that, that's it, Jimmy. That's it for me today.
Yeah. Well, you guys know what it is now, and it's time to slide on down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing on this great Monday on the Chop Shop. Don't forget, you can go over to rcssports.com and you can get today's VIP news. We got a lot of news inside of there, as well as the intel for the GMI, that the upcoming tournament the grassroots event next month, also the Southwest Exposure Camp. And of course, already over 60 nominations already for that camp. It's invite only.
Okay.
Over 60 already for that camp. And we've basically done 0 advertising on it. That lets you guys know how important that is for a lot of the people around the area.
Jimmy, what about Ruck on the Wood? Somebody asked that question earlier in the thing, and they asked, and we didn't give a chance to ask. What about Ruck on the Wood?
Well, right now there's a Ruck on Wood would annually take place on the last 2 Sundays in August. We're not sure right now We're waiting. The NCAA is expected to drop their live events for fall. If they're going to do so, we're expecting them to do it before the middle of this month. Once they do so, then we will make sure that the Ruck on Wood dates weren't in the way of a live event. You see? So once the NCAA drop theirs, then we will proceed and go it on about securing and possibly, we're right in the, I'm not really enthused about it because I'm waiting and watching some of these events that take place because Ruck on Wood is a gigantic open gym. It's a controlled and open gym, basically what it is. And you're talking about social distancing, which it would come in, by the time September, end of August rolls around, a lot of people either going to be back revisiting their fears or overcame some of the fears by that time. But right now it's too early to say, guys. It's just too early.
Okay, that's good. Let's get out of here, baby.
So appreciate everybody, man. Thanks for everybody who joined in, and make sure you came on back tomorrow. See you guys in 22 hours. On behalf of Robert Hatter, this is Jim Hicks. It's time to let the lid down. Chop shop.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop